Coming up on CTV News tonight, a film that honours CTV staff members wins big at the 48-hour film festival, and 10,000 bags of hope distributed around Christchurch. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. It's been announced today that the Earthquake Commission has paid out more than $1 billion in claims for earthquake damage to residential property since the 4th of September last year. Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee announced today that the EQC has received nearly 370,000 claims for the 13 separate events since September, including more than 22,000 in fact, for the aftershock on the 13th of June. This means the EQC has paid on average $3 million a day. EQC says it's on track to meet the time frame set in March for the full assessment of properties. Full assessments for severe structural damage should be completed by mid-July, while all other assessments should be complete by the end of the year. The 5.7 and 6.3 magnitude earthquakes on the 13th of June caused further land damage in the Port Hills area, including Littleton. Now the EQC is conducting rapid land damage mapping in those areas, and it's hoped 70% of the mapping to be completed by the end of the week. The Christchurch City Council is currently in the process of recruiting a Chief Executive Officer for the 5-year term beginning in May 2012. The process to date has involved preparing a position description for the role, advertising that role, receiving applications and shortlisting candidates for interviews. The next steps will include interviewing the shortlisted candidates and deciding on the best candidate for the role. Applications closed on the 27th of June. On the 1st of July, the Council held a meeting to determine which candidates should be shortlisted. Mayor Bob Parker will not be participating in the appointment process following his early decision to stand aside. Current CEO Tony Marriott will be applying for the position, and it's anticipated that a decision on the appointment will be made by the end of August. A film that has entered into the 40-hour film festival in honour of CTV staff members who lost their lives in the CTV building collapse has won a major prize in the grand final held over the weekend.
A film made by ex-CTV staff member Richard Lord has won a top award at the 48-hour film festival finals over the weekend.
We were nominated for one award, which was the best use of line, and fortunately we came out with the win, so we won national best use of line. On Saturday they had the grand final, and it was in Auckland, and they did it for the first time live at a theatre there. So I just sort of was relying on other people feeding me information, and then late that night, probably around 11 o'clock, someone said, "Well done, you won best use of line." The required line this year was, "What have you got?" And I guess we won it because our film was kind of told around that line, so our story sort of builds and builds to this anti-climax in a way, where the line is used, and you kind of realise that the whole film is about that one line.
What does it say?
You have completed the map successfully, but I must leave you with one more question.
What have you got if you haven't got each other?
The film is required to be put together, that's written, filmed and edited in 48 hours, with the teams given the genre of the film on the first day.
We got the genre quest, so our film is about a brother and sister who don't get on. The sister's a real bully. She has no problem beating up her younger brother until he hands over cash, and their grandfather dies and leaves them a treasure map, and so they are brought together to hunt for treasure, and they go on this wild goose chase and meet crazy people along the way in a Monty Python style adventure. But through the journey, the brother and sister have become closer and they've become friends, and so we use the line right at the end of the film. It's the last line in the film, and the sister reads out this note left in this box that they find, and it says, "What have you got if you haven't got each other?"
Richard and the zebra crossing team have regularly entered the competition in the past.
Man, I'm going to stop moping around and get off my ass and do something here. So we put together a team at the very last minute and decided to go for it this year, and we decided to make a tribute film to team members that we had lost at CTV.
He says it was tough this year without having the full team.
It was more difficult than I thought it would be, because during the weekend, myself and the producer Andrea, who used to work at CTV, I used to work at CTV, and so did she, and we sort of found ourselves talking to each other during the weekend going, man, it would be awesome if Matty was here, because he would love this story and he would be able to help so much. And it'd be great if Sam was here because he could do that and this, and it'd be great if Isaac was here because we have no idea what we're doing with our sound. So, and Isaac was always so helpful there, and it sort of caused delays throughout the weekend as you realise, crap, we have to sort of tackle this stuff on our own. Firstly, because you sort of had to choke back your feelings whenever they popped into your head throughout the weekend, knowing that they weren't going to be part of it, and that was hard. And secondly, because those three were so useful in the 48-hour competition. Maddie especially knew heaps about movies, and making it without that knowledge there, it took way longer than we thought to nail the story. And we really missed them during the weekend. And I guess that, in a way, that difficulty sort of spurred us on to try and make something that they would really like. And so we kind of made this funny little tribute film to them. And we tried to extract little idiosyncrasies from Isaac, Sam and Maddie, and write them into our script as well. So for people who know Sam, Maddie and Isaac, you'll be able to look out for little hints of their personality in the film as well.
And Richard is incredibly modest about the win and very, very happy.
So I was quite stoked at that. You know, there's winning an Oscar, and then there's winning best use of line, and I know which one I'd rather have, and it's definitely the line, because you get an amazing certificate. I don't know what you do with a golden statue. Nothing. It's paperweight. But a certificate, that has pride of place on anyone's wall.
2 people were killed in separate car crashes in Christchurch yesterday. 1 person died when a car plunged through a paddock south of Prebleton, and another died when their car crashed into a building in Islington. The first crash was at 3:15 on the main South Road and also led to a building catching fire. A middle-aged Christchurch woman was found dead at the scene. The second crash was at 8:30. Coming up after the break, winter warmers delivered to the eastern suburbs. Welcome back. 10,000 bags of hope were delivered by volunteers in Christchurch's worst hit areas over the weekend.
A local group has been distributing bags of hope to people in the hardest hit areas of Christchurch. Volunteers distributed the bags over the weekend to those in the eastern suburbs who've been suffering from liquefaction, power cuts, flooding and sewage issues since the September earthquake. With the government's latest announcement, some have been told they won't be able to live in their houses anymore as some areas won't be rebuilt. I spoke to organiser Chris Diath about Bags of Hope.
I suppose the key thing is it's just $5. $5 puts a bag of hope into someone's house. Someone who, they may have been digging out liquefaction for the 3rd, 4th time, and it lets them know someone around New Zealand, around Canterbury is thinking of them.
We're in Bexley and we're giving out bags of hope with all sorts of things in there, chocolate, pictures, special messages, but mostly hope. No, big smiles, and you can really tell that they actually genuinely appreciate it, that other people are thinking of them and what they're going through. The whole world has actually got behind it and donated money, and they've thought about what they want to have on the back of each piece of artwork, and so it's been really personalised.
Those who delivered the bags wanted to give a little bit of hope to those living in the worst hit areas.
Oh, cute. What a lovely thing to do.
I shall be putting that in my new house. That's lovely.
Thank you, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Seeing the smiles on people's faces, it's been amazing. It's just to see that people still care about each other and what's going on. When I think about what's going on in their heart and their mind, it makes me smile even more.
Canetta Knight spoke to Richard Stokes about the temporary events village that's being built in Hagley Park.
Well, we're setting up what we're calling the Christchurch Events Village in North Hagley Park. So the reason for it is that with the central city closed, there's a lot of performance and events spaces not in operation. So, like for our council events, we operate in Cathedral Square a lot, Victoria Square, and there's other theatres and the like closed. So we're setting up some temporary venues in Hagley Park to take us through probably the next 6 months or so through to into the Summer Times program next year. So things can happen and get back to a bit of normality with our events in Christchurch.
Sounds pretty good to me. Now, what are some of the things that are going to be going on in there?
Well, starting next week, actually. The first up is the Canterbury Celebration Theatre. So that program starts next week. We're also, the Christchurch Dome is being installed at the moment, and it starts off with Laughs in the Park from the New Zealand International Comedy Festival. Mm-hmm. One of the main reasons we wanted to get the venue set up is so we'd have the Kids Fest program operating in Christchurch. So some of the anchor events for Kids Fest will come in the school holidays, July school holidays, which I think is really important. With a few libraries and the like closed, to have some make sure that program's really strong in Christchurch. We get then move through. There'll be lots of things booked in as well through into August when the Christchurch Arts Festival comes in. And the Arts Festival takes us through into Rugby World Cup, and that's clearly going to be a big program for us. So at that stage we'll have the fan zone operating in Hagley Park, and as well as a whole festival program as well alongside what's called the Real New Zealand Festival, which is a program right throughout New Zealand with Rugby World Cup. After that we're into New Zealand Cup and Show Week. Back into those usual programs for Christchurch, which are really important, and then into Summer Times programs. So, and Buskers Festival, of course, in late January. So, so it means all those things can happen again, which is great, I think, for Christchurch.
Yeah, it's so important that we get back to some sort of normality of being entertained in Christchurch as well. Now, tell me about the venue. How big is it? How many people can it seat?
There's different structures for the venue. So the dome that the council purchased a couple of years ago, looking at Rugby World Cup, it can 400 people can fit into that dome. The Celebration Theatre is a smaller structure. We're also bringing in what are called geodomes when the Arts Festival comes in. So they're slightly smaller than the dome that we have. So I think it's about 300 capacity for those. The Arts Festival also bring in the Crystal Palace structure that people would have seen in the Arts Festival in years gone by in Cathedral Square. So another portable venue that comes in. So there's different sizes of venues, and some of them the Christchurch Dome will be there right through. The others will come and go as the program ramps up and goes down, those sorts of things.
Christchurch Polytech's third-year National Academy of Singing and Drama Arts students will be staging their production Cloud Street at the CPIT campus. It'll be the only production they will be staging in Christchurch this year because of the quakes.
Third-year students of the National Academy of Singing and Dramatic Arts are staging Cloud Street.
It's based on two families who move into this big old ruined down house in Cloud Street in Perth, and it follows both of the families and their struggles through a 20-year period. The Lamb family is the family that me and Jeremy, our characters, are from, and we are from sort of like the hard-working side of Australia, and then it shows the Pickles family, who is the boozing, gambling side of Australia.
They have the show must go on attitude despite their rehearsals being interrupted for a week following the June 13th aftershock.
Losing a whole week's rehearsal right in the middle can be terribly disruptive, but these guys were so on board that we really just dug deep and did a week of hard out, full-on rehearsals and caught back up.
We're quite fortunate. Last year, one of the earthquakes really upset the third years, one of their final outcomes, so we're all kind of like determined.
We're just hoping that nothing will happen so that we can get this on and people can come and see it.
Cloud Street is the only production being performed by the third-year NASDAs in Christchurch. The lack of venue is forcing them to take their larger production to Ashburton.
Normally we do our shows in here, but because we're doing a sort of a
huge scale
mashup
show
sort of thing, this year we've got to take it out of Christchurch just because there's nowhere to put it.
We can't fit it in the studio, so we have to find something that's going to accommodate us. So, I mean, Ashburton's not that far away.
Cloud Street opens on Friday the 8th of July at 7 p.m. in the main NASDA studio. The show runs till Friday 15th of July with one matinee at 4 p.m. on the Sunday.
Coming up after the break, your local weather. Well, Pete Smith hit the streets today in Street Talk to ask, what do people think about the concerns that they may have regarding the Christchurch City Council appearing to be a divided group?
How concerned are you when you hear about divisions and arguments around our Christchurch City Council table? I would have thought we need to be united and really just pushing in one direction. But there seems to be a lot of splits occurring now, which I think need to be healed really quickly. That's the Street Talk question today. Are you concerned about divisions within our Christchurch City councillors? How concerned are you about the divisions that seem to be going on around our council table?
I'm concerned. I'm wondering whether some of the young ones need a bit of experience before they speak up. But
it annoys me a lot, actually.
Why is that?
Well, they should get on with the job.
Yes.
You know, we haven't heard much from them except for arguments.
Yeah, it doesn't really unite us much, does it?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
no.
Do you think that's holding back some of the progress?
I think so, yeah.
So we want everybody on the one song sheet, wouldn't we?
Yeah. It's all bloody politics, isn't it?
Well, I guess they have a huge job and it has to be done responsibly and well.
Yes.
And, So it depends on the motive of the people doing it, I guess.
I think that it's good for them, if they have any doubts about what's been done or decided upon, they should probably say, to get it out on the table.
Does it worry it might hold up the job, though?
No, it doesn't. I think it should be all out on the table and everyone should know what's going on and be in agreement.
You think we should be more united?
Yes, I think so.
Because we've got a big job on, haven't we?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and if
Terrific.
we're fighting and arguing, it doesn't help much, does it?
No, definitely
Get
not.
on and get the jolly thing done.
Yeah, it's going to be a long job, we know that.
We do, and it won't all go smoothly.
No, definitely not.
I think if we could just get on with each other would be a help, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Well, I'm concerned, yes, they don't seem to be operating as a smooth unit.
No, and I think we need to be united, don't we?
Well, people never are united.
No, that's the problem, isn't it?
No, I think they need to get their act together. Seems to be a bit of argy-barging going on.
Because it could hold us up, couldn't it?
What, for what?
Well, making some decisions and getting on with things.
Well, they're actually dragging the chain a little bit, I feel.
Do you think it might slow things down?
Probably it would, yeah.
But then I suppose they want to get the right answers, don't they?
Well, yeah, you've got to get the right answers, but who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, do you think you need to know a bit more about what they're fighting about?
Yeah, yes, I do, yeah.
Yes, I think they should get down to it and just decide what needs to be done and do it. But at the same time, there has to be discussion, but
Yeah, but it seems to
public,
be quite nasty, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, and that doesn't help anybody, does it?
No, it doesn't. I think the problem is that too much is behind closed doors.
Well, it's a shame when anybody squabbles.
Yeah, it is.
They should perhaps be more decisive in their matters and not hide things from each other.
I haven't really read too much into it yet.
They seem to be having a scrap about things though all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to get it sorted.
Yeah, we need to move on a bit in a hurry, don't we?
Get those buildings down and get.
You've had enough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get those buildings down in the central city and get.
So you're going to be young enough to see the new city too, aren't you?
I think that the City Council debating chamber is for debating.
Right.
And if smaller minority groups don't put their case, there should be an amount of good quality debate. We expect that of our councillors, and if there are people with different viewpoints, they should be allowed a chance to
I'd
view
agree with that.
them.
When we heard that one was going to be thrown out because they wouldn't keep quiet, I mean, I don't think that does much good for anybody, does it?
No, there needs to be order in a debate, but on the other hand, we shouldn't stifle good debate and a lot of us feel unrepresented, especially the poorer people who have been, you know, had a hard time, you know. There have been handouts for working people, but people who have, for one reason or another, not got a lot of money have missed out. And it's been very, very hard for us to put food on the table.
That's CTV News. I'm Rob Cope-Williams.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.